Today, I'm talking about a fun topic that involves the podcast format that you choose to do. I'm going to be talking about solo episodes versus interview episodes. They're both important, and why you would do one over the other, it depends on your goals. And of course, you can mix and match, but that's what I'm going to be talking about in this episode. Solo episodes versus interview episodes and why you would choose to do one or the other. Okay, so solo episodes, these are my favorite. I do probably majority, like 70% solo episodes, and I'm going to break down 5 reasons why you may want to do solo episodes if you're new and you haven't started your podcast yet, or if you've been doing a lot of interview shows, but you want to start going on the mic solo for any of the reasons that I'm about to tell you. So number 1 is personal connection. When it's just you and your listeners, you're going to build a deeper relationship. I know for me, the podcast that I listen to, I feel like I have a connection to the host, and I wait every day of the week for that show to drop. And when it does, I'm excited because I kind of feel like I know the host, and it just is like an intimate listening experience. And so when you are talking directly to somebody or to a group of people, they're going to feel more connected to you. And that, in my opinion, is a great way to build an audience. And so that's the first reason. The second reason is going to be control over the content. When it's just you and it's your show and it's your episode, you get to choose what you want to talk about, what you want to say. Going solo is a great time to educate, to teach your audience about a specific thing, but it's also a great time to get vulnerable. And maybe there's something going on in your personal life or in your business that you're struggling with. People love hearing those kind of stories because they can relate to that. And when they feel that like you're a regular human being and you have some of the same struggles as them, they're going to feel a connection to you, and they're going to feel like your show is honest and that you're somebody who's just like them. You're not this like special podcast host who they put on a pedestal that does everything right and has no problems. It just humanizes the relationship. Number 3 is ease of production. Solo episodes are easy to schedule, easier to record, easier to edit, produce because it's just you. You don't have to worry about someone else. And not always, but oftentimes, solo episodes are shorter than like interviews. For me, I try to shoot for under 15 minutes, and I've even done some that are like 7 minutes. And so it's a lot less to edit. And in that time frame, you can really get across what you're trying to get across with less stress because it's just you. It's just easier to get the whole thing done. You can kind of do it at your time, whether you're in the morning, whether you're at night, whether you have kids. You can work all around that without having to worry about somebody else's schedule. So number 4, positioning yourself as an expert. You want to position yourself as an expert. And the reason for that is if you're trying to grow your podcast, or if your podcast is part of like your brand or your business, you want to be the face behind it. Nowadays, with AI and with so much content out there, people want to be able to see you and relate to you and know who you are. And when you're able to get on the mic and talk about something that you know in detail, it just legitimizes your whole brand, your whole image, your whole ecosystem. And people are going to start coming to you, and word's going to get around that you are like the go-to guy for trading baseball cards, or you're the go-to guy for teaching people how to start a podcast, or for personal finance. And this kind of leads into the next one, which is like monetization. When you're using solo episodes, you can tastefully promote your services, or you can sell your coaching or your consulting, or maybe you have a book. Solo episodes are a great way to tastefully tell your audience about that. You're not going to do that in like a middle of an interview. You could like record an ad and drop it into the show, but when you're solo, you really have that opportunity to sell yourself. Maybe you have a service-based business. Hell, maybe you're a mechanic and you do a podcast all about like auto body and car repair, etc. That's a great time to tell people, hey, come to my shop or come to my website, and I have an online guide of how to change your oil, whatever it may be. I just made that up, but it's a great way to start selling yourself and your services, and that's how you're going to start to make a little bit of money as a podcaster. You kind of funnel that into your business, and it's just the perfect time to advertise yourself, sell yourself. And because if you're not selling yourself, nobody else will. Okay, so interview episodes. Why would you do an interview episode? Or why would you gear your whole podcast around interviews? Well, the first is bringing on experts or interesting people that you can talk to that may be in your niche as well. You're going to get to pick their brain. Your audience is going to get introduced to someone new. And while you do want to position yourself as an expert, it's also important to bring people into your ecosystem and share their gifts with your audience, because that just helps diversify your show, a diversity of opinion, a diversity of thought, maybe a different perspective on something in your industry. And so bringing those people on is just going to give you and your listeners a different way to look at things. The next is networking. By bringing people on your show, it's a great way to network. You're going to get into some circles that you maybe wouldn't have been able to get to, like the whole, hey, can I take you out for coffee, or can I pick your brain for 15 minutes on Zoom? It's like, no, nobody wants to do that. But if you offer them, hey, do you want to come on my podcast? I have X amount of followers. I'm going to introduce you to my people. And I think that they're going to get a lot of value, and it's going to be a chance for you to offer them that gift, that platform to share their gifts with your audience. And your audience is going to be grateful, and the people that you bring on your show are going to be grateful, and you're going to get that opportunity to connect with people that may have previously been out of reach because you're offering them something of value. They get to come on a platform and they get to talk about what they do. The next is interview swaps. Number 3. So when you're bringing people onto your show, chances are, not all of them, but some of them will reciprocate, and you might get an opportunity to go on their podcast in return and get introduced to their audience. And so it just plays into that whole networking piece. The more you give, the more you're going to get back. And I think when everybody is under the collective mission of like sharing each other's gifts and learning and wanting to introduce people to new perspectives, new people, it's just going to help you grow your brand. If you're able to get in front of those people, maybe they're going to like you, and then maybe you can funnel them into your podcast. Maybe the host of that show that you swapped with will tell his people or her people, hey, check out Eric of Clipped. He had me on his show a couple weeks ago, and I think you're going to get a lot of value from him, so check him out. And then the next, number 4, is content variety. So if you're doing clips for social media or even just the podcast itself, if you're constantly doing solo episodes, like I recommend you do probably like 70%. And then if you start peppering in those interview episodes, it's just content variety, and it keeps things fresh and engaging. It's going to give your listeners something new and something exciting. And it's also great for like content for social media, because if you're sharing clips of yourself constantly, maybe that's going to get a little old, boring for you, but also boring and like uninteresting from your listeners because they're tired of seeing your mug all over their phone. So then if you bring on someone else and you cut some clips of them, it's just going to help keep your feeds, your whole ecosystem like new and updated. And the guest is also going to love that because you can share those snippets with them. They're going to promote those, and then you can, tag each other on social media and do some cross promo. And so it's just great for keeping things engaging and fresh. So how do you decide what format's right for you, solo or interview? Well, you have to think about your podcasting goals. Is your goal really to position yourself as an expert and try to get leads to grow your brand or business? Or do you really want to get out there and network? Maybe you want to eventually like speak on stages, and the more people you connect with, the more you're going to get in those circles, and that might get you closer to your goal. I'm of the mentality that you should probably do both, but I will say for me personally, and for someone that's trying to grow their brand or business, solo episodes are going to be the best thing for you. And then you can pepper in those interview episodes. But you want to consider your target audience, your niche, and your personal strengths. Maybe the solo thing is tough for you, and maybe the interview thing is a breeze. All that to say is that you want to definitely include both, in my opinion, and the ratio of which one to do more of and which one to do less of, you're going to have to play with. And again, you're going to have to think of your goals. But in any case, guys, hit me up. If you have questions about podcasting, if you're struggling to get your show off the ground, if you're struggling with production help, keep listening, keep engaging, and keep creating, guys. I'm out.